Chiefs and Broncos, a game that the Chiefs were trying to give the Broncos. Like, Broncos, take this game, please. And then ultimately, they were just toying with them the whole game. Broncos, what the hell was that?
Yeah, so a game like this, you look at the score, you see 19-8, and you're like, oh, the Chiefs kind of struggled here. But have to understand, division rivalry, Thursday Night Football, Chiefs have beat them 15 straight times. You know how exhausting it is to win 15 straight times versus a team in the NFL? Like, not only like basketball, baseball, but just like in the NFL period. So first of all, that's a hard feat to accomplish. And then you have people like the Skip Baylesses of the world who maybe they're a Patrick Mahomes hater of some sort, and they're like, hey, Patrick Mahomes had a down game here, blah blah blah. Like, no, don't put too much stake in this game. They saw the Broncos, they held them to 8 points. This is the best start that the Chiefs have had under Patrick Mahomes. This is the biggest point differential they've started a season with. And when we start putting Kadarius Toney at quarterback, I know Chris Collinsworth said maybe Travis Kelce could play quarterback on the Sunday night broadcast a few weeks ago. Well, apparently they're trying it out with Kadarius Toney, and you call a lateral to your tight end. Like, that's a play you call during this game, and that gives me the number one indicator that the Chiefs were not taking this Broncos team seriously. They looked at Russell Wilson, kind of laughed at him. Andy Reid is like, wow, I used to have a lot of respect for Sean Payton when he was in New Orleans. Now I look at him, and he's kind of reeling on the sideline. And then at the end of the game, all of that said, Chiefs just toying with the Broncos. Sean Payton in the press conference, they're like, Sean, what's wrong? And he's like, well, that's a great question. What is wrong with this offense? Well, you know, some of the play calling falls on me, but it really comes down to we have to be better at throwing the football. And I don't think there was too much wind going on today, so that shouldn't have been an issue. And then you're just like, a quote like that from your head coach, where that's him wanting to throw Russell Wilson all the way under the bus and run him over. If you watch the movie Pooh, Blood and Honey, where he runs the girl's head over with the car, that's basically what Sean Payton did indirectly to Russell Wilson. So it's not like, good win for the Chiefs. Like, you beat the Broncos. Patrick Mahomes didn't have his best game, but Thursday night games, I feel like teams really are just fine getting out of there with a W for the most part.
Yeah, this wasn't a game that you can look at the Chiefs and go, this team is not a Super Bowl contender. I knew it. No, this is a game where, again, they were toying with them. Kadarius Toney lining up for a play. They had a tight end lateral. And really, like, this game, it feels like they were kind of coasting through most of it. And when it mattered most, they scored and made a big play. But really, the story of this game is for two things. The Chiefs' defense is legit. Bunch of young players that are really balling. George Karlaftis, second year. He was good last year, but this year he's really taken that next step, adding a lot of pressure to that team, complementing Chris Jones very well. I think having those few weeks without Chris Jones actually benefited George Karlaftis as he needed to step up. So he's been playing fantastic. Wanted to shout him out. And then the real story of this game, and when we go over the worst 5 teams in the NFL, our favorite segments, the Broncos will be very high on that list because this is a team that we talk about every week. Like, last year, they had one of the best defenses, worst offense. Now, they don't have either. Both of the teams suck on both sides of the ball. And their defense played better in this game. But again, it's a Thursday night game. Like, you have 3 days to prepare for it. And you don't always get the best team on the other side. You don't get their best product. But at the same time, you scored 8 points. And it took you 4 quarters to score a touchdown. And it was like, kind of like a, okay, well, the game's already over sort of thing. Terrible game by the Broncos. And, like, Russell Wilson, we need to have a case study. We need to get our best scientists in to diagnose what is wrong with the Broncos. I don't know if it's the air in Denver. I don't know what it is, but Russell Wilson, this is a guy in Seattle who everyone's like, oh, some year he'll win the MVP. He'll always start hot. And he was good in Seattle, right?
Right.
What the hell happened? Because this is a guy, I've never seen a quarterback go from a top 10, top 6, 7 quarterback to the worst quarterback in the league. I've never seen this historic of a drop-off. So apparent, so obvious, in plain sight. What happened? I don't know what happened, but it's embarrassing. It's sad. It's almost sad to watch. But Russell Wilson put it on himself.
Yeah, and it's definitely some of this is on Russell Wilson for sure, if not most of it, because you have that contract and the way Mike Florio explained it, he's a lawyer, so he like deals a lot with like the sports agents and the contract stuff. And he said that Denver paid Russ earlier than he wanted to. So Russell Wilson initially wanted to get traded to get paid, and then they ended up giving him the bag a year too early because the way Russell Wilson and his agent typically operate is asking for that contract a year in the last year of the contract. But they paid him with 2 years left on his deal. So if they just waited to pay him, they wouldn't have. So not only did the Denver Broncos jump the gun, as soon as Aaron Rodgers was staying in Green Bay, they make this trade for Russell Wilson. And then Russ is also someone that you should have studied a little bit more on just things players have said about him, like Marshawn Lynch going on Shannon Sharp's podcast and a few others saying that Russell Wilson basically blocked his number. And then if you want to talk to Russell Wilson, don't go up to him and talk to him. He has a separate office with the coaches that he goes to. And then you have to go through his agent basically if you want to get in contact with him. And then Shannon Sharp was saying like, I didn't have everyone's phone number, but if it's a teammate trying to reach me, like, yeah, I definitely, here's my phone number. You can call me. It's like, I may not pick up, but I'll try my best to get back to you. So it's like the quarterback position, if you want to talk about being quarterbackial, as Colin Cowherd says, and being a leader as a quarterback, like you can't be a standoffish quarterback and also suck. So it's like, it feels like there's definitely a mercenary aspect to Russell Wilson that wasn't as apparent with the Legion of Boom, because that was more of Marshawn Lynch tying that offense together with the defense. And Marshawn Lynch seemed like the translation of the Legion of Boom personified on the offense, and Russell Wilson was the good young quarterback making the strides, and now his attitude is a little bit more like, I don't want to say similar to Dak, but it's more of that nature where he feels more mercenary. He got his money, and then the leagues just looked at him differently, and they can't get that interception on the end zone out of their mind. So I think all of those factors come into it, and then